That user profile endpoint works perfectly. But does it look like every other generic resource when users browse their MCP client? We'll add a visual identity to dynamic resource templates by attaching icons that appear alongside each user's profile, making navigation intuitive even with hundreds of entries. Here, how to implement resource template icons that scale with your parameterized endpoints.
At MCP, resource, user, //user ID /profile. Icons equals icon, src equals https //example, com/user icon, png. Def get user profile, user ID, str, dict. Get a user's profile. Return id, userid name, fuser userid.
This demonstrates the decorative resource pattern, where Python functions become network-accessible endpoints through declarative metadata. The @MCP resource decorator transforms a simple function into a discoverable API resource, complete with URL templating and visual identifiers. What distinguishes this approach is how it merges REST-like routing with RPC simplicity, using native Python syntax instead of framework-specific root definitions. The pattern works by treating decorators as configuration blueprints rather than runtime instructions. When you apply @MCP resource, you define both the logical endpoint structure via URL templates like user, //user ID /profile, and its presentation layer through icons and documentation. The framework handles the translation between Python's type system and the external protocol, so your function stays focused on business logic while gaining network accessibility. This matters because it eliminates the traditional friction between API design and implementation. You avoid writing separate root handlers, request parsers, or response serializers. Everything derives from the function signature and decorator metadata. The icon system further bridges the gap between backend logic and client UIs, making your API self-documenting and visually navigable. It's particularly valuable for internal tooling, microservices, or any scenario where you need to expose functionality without sacrificing Python's native development experience. Let's break it down line by line.
@MCP, resource, user, //user ID /profile.
This defines the resource path template for an MCP endpoint, using a URL-style pattern with a variable segment. The userid placeholder creates a dynamic route that captures user IDs from incoming requests, enabling per-user profile lookups. This follows MCP's resource routing pattern for REST-like path handling.
Icons equals icon, src equals https //example, com/user icon, png.
This associates a visual icon with the resource endpoint, displayed in AI interfaces and documentation. The icon class standardizes icon references across FastMCP tools, ensuring consistent UI representation for all exposed endpoints. This closing parenthesis terminates the @MCP resource decorator call, finalizing the root registration. Without it, the decorator would remain incomplete, causing a syntax error.
Def get user profile, user ID, str, dict.
This defines the function that implements the MCP resource endpoint. The type hints enforce input validation and document the expected return structure, while the docstring provides the AI callable description. This is the standard pattern for all FastMCP resource handlers.
Get a user's profile.
This docstring defines the tool's purpose and behavior for AI models. It becomes part of the tool's schema, enabling proper discovery and usage by AI systems. Always include a clear, concise description for every AI callable function.
Return id, userid name, fuser userid.
This returns a standardized profile dictionary with the user ID and a generated name. The consistent structure ensures predictable output for API consumers, while the fstring dynamically creates a human-readable name from the ID. This pattern guarantees type safety through the return type hint while keeping the response format simple and extensible. Visual resource identification. Icons in FastMCP transform abstract URIs into visual anchors, binding human recognition to machine endpoints through simple image associations. The icons SRC field accepts both URLs and data URIs, but clients may ignore the MIME type if the image format is self-evident from the data. A single well-chosen icon often communicates a tool's purpose faster than its description.
The URI that wears an icon becomes invisible, yet the icon that points to nothing contains all possible paths.